Should have caramel macchiato goo. I want my money back. I need a Vinci water, maybe a bacon Gouda. Oh. In this video, I'm going to recap my Austin 3M half marathon experience, in which I had a goal of breaking 1 hour and 25 minutes. Because they say if you can run a half marathon in sub 125, then you can run a sub 3 hour marathon, which is the goal. As you could see, I did bring along my GoPro, unbeknownst and to the large disapproval of my coach. So I'm gonna splice in the footage as we go. The way I've broken this recap up is like pre-race, then by 5Ks, 5K, 10K, 15K, the last 6K, and then a little bit about what's next. Actually, you know what? Before we get into what shoes I wore and all that stuff, let's talk about the Austin 3M half marathon. 3M as in the brand for like Scotch tape and scissors and those little wall things with the hook. Yeah, they sponsor a race and it is awesome. It is like the Jack and Jill or the Tunnel Marathon of half marathons. And if you aren't familiar with those marathons, it's basically a net downhill half marathon, super fast. The slogan for the race is downhill to downtown. So you start up in North Austin. I'll put the elevation map here on the screen. You start up in North Austin and you make your way all the way down to downtown on the UT campus and you finish by the Capitol. It is an awesome race. It is super fast. There was 7,000 people in attendance. I feel like there would probably be more, except the Houston Marathon, sorry, the Chevrolet Houston Marathon was 2 weeks before, and that's kind of like the biggest half marathon in the state. So a lot of people have signed up and already done that. They're not ready to run this half. However, if you live in Texas or you like to travel for half marathons, I highly recommend this one if you feel like you want to PR a half marathon. It's a blast. It's a super blast. Hashtag ASICS. What's up? All right, let's talk about shoes. I just did a clip about the shoes that I wore and it was 5 minutes. I was like, that's not gonna make it. I wore the Adidas Adios Pro 2. That's the shoes I wore. It's one of my favorite race day shoes. I made a video and I'll put the link right here over there. It's ridiculous, like most of the stuff at Midlife Runner. If you're really bored, check it out. This shoe is best at half marathon paces. All right, now let's talk about the start line. So in the start line, when I got there, I saw that there were pace groups for 130, 135, 140. It was really starting at 130, so there was no 125 pace group, which I thought was a little bit weird. I mean, it made sense. When I did the Chicago Marathon, there was a 3 hour pace group, a 305, 310, but there wasn't anything below 3. So 130 would make sense because that's half of 3, but they say you need to run a 125 in order to be able to run a 3. Anyway, I just knew that I wanted to be in front of that pace group. The corral itself felt like a local race. I mean, like they're off to the right, I'll put up the footage, but you could see like they're singing the national anthem, the guy's right there, and then there's the start line and everyone's just kind of bunched up at front like it's a local race. And then the guy gets on the mic like Peppa Pig and he's like, ready, steady, go.
Yo guys and gals, we are on the move. That's right, on the move for the 2023 3.5 Marathon presented by Under Armour.
The first 5K. So the start of a race is really weird because everyone takes off. You don't really know who's going at what speed for how long or what the talent level of each person is. So somebody could be starting at 6-minute miles and they might hold that pace for 2 or 3 miles and then slow down incredibly. There could be someone running 6:15s, and for them, those are going to be the 3 slowest miles of the entire race, and they're going to pick it up as you go. You don't really know. So I really tried to stay between 6:30 and 6:40. Coach wrote me a plan that said that the first mile was supposed to be 6:40 to 6:45. First mile's at 6:29 or 6:31. It's supposed to be 6:40. Sorry, coach. So after mile 1, things started to get weird. So like my watch was set to manual lap. I didn't have it on auto lap. Lesson learned from Chicago. And I didn't wear a jacket over my bib. Success. Every time I see a mile marker, I'm hitting the manual lap button. The first mile was 6:31 according to my watch. For mile 2, I crossed mile 2 and I hit the lap button. Mile 2 said 7:10, but I'm at a 6:30 pace, so. A 7:10. This is 40 seconds behind what I'm supposed to be averaging per mile. It's a pretty significant gap to make up. So I freak out a little bit. I'm like, uh-oh. I pick up the pace. Now I'm not gonna go into a 5K speed, but I'm still gonna put a little hustle to it. When I get to mile marker 3, I push the button again and it says,
Mile 3 said 5:43. There's no way. So I don't think I can trust those mile markers. I'm just gonna run by pace.
That's right, 5:45. There's no way I ran a 5:45 mile. So that's when I realized, hey, these mile markers. To be fair to the Austin 3M half marathon, I spoke with other runners, including my coach, who said in prior years, the mile markers were lined up perfectly fine and everything was great. So maybe they were just off this particular year. Also, to be fair to the Austin 3M half marathon, the 5K markers were accurate. So when you cross the 5K marker, it's got the chip signals and the time in the bar, you go over. And then I set it up on the app to send me messages via text on what, my updates are, which I receive on my phone. So it says that my finish time is set to be 8:54 a.m. and we started at 7:30. So some quick math, that's 1 hour and 24 minutes. So despite whatever was happening with the mile markers, I knew after 5K at 20 minutes and 6 seconds that I was on pace for a sub 125. Whew. Okay, so after the 5K mark to the 10K mark, I actually don't have a single memory of anything that happened. Like, I was just going. I was just running. I have footage. Maybe I can put some footage here. So, I mean, I guess there's proof that I wasn't abducted by aliens, but I don't remember what happened. Like, it's kind of like the 4th grade or what I was doing last June. I don't remember. I couldn't tell you. And I think that the pace reflects that. I was just right on pace. So here are my splits, mile 4, 5, and 6. At the 10K mark, this is the turning point. My wife sends me a text message and it says, and I quote, "Be faster." Be faster, not go faster, be faster. Like me, the essence of me, just more suddenly. Just me, but like immediately. Arrival, instant arrival, just be. And so I'm thinking at first, oh, she's trying to motivate me. And then I start thinking, wait a second, she's not doing anything other than loving me with every cell of her body, essence, mind, body, and spirit at the finish line, looking at her phone, watching me as a little blue dot make his way down this course map. And she's like, what if she's seeing that I'm not gonna make it? She's not telling me to go faster. She's like, you need to be faster or you're not gonna hit your goal. Regardless, I decided to pick up the pace. Now, 2 strange things happened between the 10K and the 15K mark. One, the camera lens somehow got blurry and I do not know how that happened. Like, I have no idea. The other thing that was happening was I kept missing the mile markers.
I haven't seen a mile marker in 2 or 3 miles. We're about 8.5 in, 6:22 pace.
I looked down at my watch and I've missed mile marker 9. That whole time, I didn't see a mile marker. By the time I got to the 15K marker, I decided to hit my lap button and just start fresh. I don't know how I missed any of the mile markers. Like, I couldn't tell you how. I don't know how I missed. So when I crossed the 15K mark, I did see 59 and some change. Here's the footage from that.
15K, 59:38. Last year I did a 15K in like 1:02, about 3 minutes faster.
According to Strava, these were my splits for mile 7, 8, and 9. Now, I can tell you the reason I probably missed the mile 9 marker is that this is the only uphill elevation in the entire course. It's like 3/4 of a mile. You're going down, you're going down, you're going down, and then you're going back up. And I just kept telling myself, quick feet, fast hands, quick feet. Some guy thought I was talking to him. It was really funny.
Up the hill. Yeah. Fast hands, fast feet. Mile 10 said 6:33.
All right, for the last 5K, from like the 16K mark to the 21K mark, I had received a text message from the Austin 3M Half Marathon, which said my finish time was estimated at 8:53 a.m., which means I had dipped sub 124. I was ecstatic about that, and my mindset going into the last 3 miles was just hold race pace, don't slide. So at least do that versus hold 6:13 all the way through. So for mile 10, it was at a 6:18 pace, so it was still going fast. But when I hit mile 11, it was the first time where I actually had to mentally command my legs to move, where I started to feel some of that fatigue and my legs started to feel a little bit heavy.
Coming up on the mile 12 marker.
And also there are some sneaky hills in the last couple of miles. You're just barreling down some pretty gigantic hills, and then you turn, and then you're going up a hill that's pretty steep. And that particular day, the wind was blowing in from there. And every time I took a right, there was a pod of people in front of me, 75 meters, like just far enough where I couldn't get in behind them. I would have to like expel all my energy just to catch up, to like get into the pack. And then we'd turn, and then the wind would be behind us or to the side, and we would be going back downhill. It was also at this point in the last 5K where I started to have issues with my GoPro. So there's a button on top that you can hit to record. There's a power button on the side. So you can turn on the power button, and then once it's on, you can hit record and not record, right? Or when it's in the off position, you can just hit record and it'll turn on and start recording, which is usually how I like to do it. And then I hit stop record and then it powers off. So I would turn it on, record, turn it off. But sometimes I hit the record button and it turns on and it doesn't record. And then I hit record and it doesn't do anything. And then I try to turn it off and it doesn't turn off. So the only solution is that I have to unlatch this thing, pull the battery out, put the battery back in, and close it while it's on a stick. I did not practice this in my training. In retrospect, I wish I would have just turned it on and kept it rolling the whole time, especially maybe in the last mile or so. Good news, bad news. The good news is I was still able to salvage and get some of the footage from downtown and around the campus, which was really cool. The bad news was I missed the finish line. So I did the last bit of recording that this picked up was the last stretch before I took a right into the finish chute. And a couple people were passing me, and I don't know if I just gave up on it or what, but I was like, oh, I gotta run a race. So I turn and I see the finish line. Right in front of it was the mile 13 marker, and I thought there's no way that there's 200 meters between that mile 13 marker and the finish line. I'm gonna test it. Right, so I'm gonna hit my manual lap. And so I passed the mile 13 marker and I hit lap and I start running and I look up and I swear you can see the finish time above on the deal, the Duma flop that you run on our finish line. It says 1:23:50. And I'm like, oh no, like my goal was to break 125 and I knew I was gonna break 125, but there was just something sexy about 123XX, right? And I was like, well, I wanna break 124. And so I started booking it and running as hard as I could. I started sprinting and there was 55, 56, 57, 58. Like I'm not gonna make it. But then I remembered, I didn't start when the gun went off. When the guy said, ready, steady, go, he didn't actually say that. When I started, it was probably 5 seconds after everyone else, so I had a little bit of a window.
Keep it on, guys. Fantastic work. Seeing everybody come across that finish line. Eugene.
Thank you.
Amy Smith there, knocking it out, getting it done today. Great job.
123,
Spearman in there as well.
58.
Drew Cheatham.
I did it. I broke 125. I even broke 124, which means I am in sub 3 potential shape. It is a PR by 6 minutes and 32 seconds. Super excited, thrilled. I am grateful. I'm going to soak it in. Cloud 9, Cloud 10, some sort of cloud. I'm on it. Now they say that you should make YouTube videos on stuff that you want to see as a YouTube audience member. And what I want to see in race recap videos is everything that I just showed you, sort of the play-by-play and what's going on in the runner's head. And then I also want to know kind of like what training went into it, like what what kind of preparation. So I remember watching a Kafuzi video, and he did maybe like 8 weeks of 80 miles in his sub 3 attempt. And it's really insightful and cool to know. Everybody's different. It takes different people, different mileage and all that stuff, but it's really good to know. So I wrote down, and I'll read them here because I didn't memorize them, but this is what my weekly mileage looked like for the 12-week plan. It was 34, 38, 44, 47, 49. Then I had a cutback week of 36 miles, then 43, 38. I had 2 peak weeks, 53 miles, 51 miles, then 37 on a taper, and then 14 miles right before I did the 13.1. This doesn't seem like a ton of mileage because I think my mind is used to like marathon mileage training blocks versus half marathon. I will say, I think what really worked in the training was the 3 quality workouts a week. I just like lived in the 6s. 6:05, 6-minute pace, 5:50, 6:15, 6:20. Like I was doing a 5K workout on Wednesday. I was doing half marathon pace or threshold or faster on Friday. And then every Sunday I had a long run with progressive stuff in it. So I might go 10 miles easy and then or easy-ish progressing in pace, 6 miles at half marathon pace. So I really feel like all that speed work got me very comfortable as one can be running in that 6:20 to 6:30 range. So that's why I was able to like zone out and forget everything that happened from mile 4 to mile 6. So what's next? To celebrate my 3-year running anniversary, I'm going to do a sub 3 attempt off just 3 peak weeks of mileage and a 10-day taper on March the 3rd at the Woodlands Marathon. Why though? Because I'm a wuss. I really like everything to be perfect and organized, and I like to know that I'm already I'm in all those memes where it says like my wife likes to be in this lane to take a left on 300 miles from now, whatever. That's me. I'm always the wife in those memes. There's an order Muppet and there's a chaos Muppet, and they usually find each other, and I'm the order Muppet. I'm a retired chaos Muppet, but I'm an order Muppet, right? And I like that structure and organization. I rarely just go for it. So for me, I feel like sometimes I just gotta go for it. So for my 43rd birthday, I've signed up for a big box of likely failure. But maybe I'll end up getting a BQ and having fun and learning a lot about myself, after which I have signed up for the Buffalo Marathon. Now I'm hoping to run the Buffalo Marathon with my brother Kyle in honor of my father, who has dementia, who I love dearly and is one of my heroes. The goal for that, I'm sure, will be sub 3, but really sometimes running is about way more than just the finish time. Are you gonna make a joke? I was wondering when I was gonna hear from you. Make a joke. What do you do if you get jumped by a car full of clowns? Go for the juggler. What do you call Batman? Nope.